if an ask is like a normal human relationship, that's going to the bar, meeting that person at the bar for the very first time and saying, hey, would you like to go home with me? That's the first sentence that came out of my mouth. Here's how most people handle Facebook ads. They spend $100 on Facebook, they go back, they hope and pray for the best. And if they're not getting the results that they expect, they have no idea what to do. They don't know how they should systematically approach making a fix when a campaign doesn't go according to plan. And in this video, I'm going to be taking you behind the scenes to a call that I recently did to walk you through what you should be doing if your funnels are losing money. And if you've ever lost money on an ad campaign, I always believe that it's fine to lose money on an ad campaign as long as you know exactly what to do with the data that you just got. And in this video, if you stay till the end, I'm going to walk you through exactly how you should be thinking about fixing your funnels whenever you are losing money. Let's begin. So imagine that this is like some weird game and your audience, what are all these weird pillars? They need to go, okay, right now this is like water, okay? And in this water over here, there are all these crocodiles. I'm gonna do my best job to draw a crocodile. Crocodile's eyes will be like this. They've got all these short things. Man, how does a crocodile look? Okay, so this is my best illustration of crocodiles. As you guys can see, drawing is obviously not my main thing. So, okay, these are all crocodiles in the water. And right now, your audience has to go from one point to another. Okay, welcome, Emmanuel.
Basically, I serve inventors. I help them profit from their products using advanced funnel system.
What would you like to get out of today's session that you feel will help you get unstuck or get to the next level?
I really, now I'm working on the traffic section after everything is said and done, and using some of your proven presentation formats. So I really want to be real effective on the video or the webinar I presented. So that way I have everything right as far as the vehicle and the internal belief system. So I really want to have basically the webinar convert.
Okay, so in terms of what you've done and applied and implemented, what's the result so far based on this specific webinar funnel?
I just literally just launched it after Funnel Hacking Live, basically like last week. So now I just finished two video ads on YouTube. And another thing is I don't know how effectively do a video for Facebook. So that way I could do ads running towards that campaign also.
Remember guys, one important thing to kind of like get into the mindset, right? The mindset is initially when you build that funnel and you spend $100 in that initial spend, $300, $500, come from the angle of initially it is okay to lose money, but it is only okay to lose money if you know what it is that is broken that you need to work on. There is a lead magnet, which I'm guessing after they sign up, they might be able to land on the webinar, okay? And what's the difference between these two landing pages?
So those two are two separate lead magnets that I plan to use for Facebook. So if there's a follow-up to a retargeting method, but also if they sign up for the webinar, they skip this process and go in the middle. And I got all these follow-up funnels for after they sign up for the webinar. So if they don't purchase this, I keep following up with them.
Why would you retarget people to this page? What's the thought process?
Well, this one is like a free innovation kit. So it's a blueprint and free PDF and materials, calling scripts to give them some value. So that way they could, it's like have them to get to know me better. And the other one is like a free video workshop series. So I'm giving them free.
Okay, I'll get aligned with a few things first, okay guys? Number one, who here can let me know in the comments, what is the purpose of retargeting? Retargeting is getting the audience to get to the next step of the sales process. That's what retargeting is. Retargeting is getting the audience to get back to the next step of the sales process. So depending on what the sales process is, the next step of the sales process for somebody who landed on a page but didn't register would be to get them to register. Retargeting for somebody who registered but didn't show up would be to get them to now show up. If somebody bought the product, what is the next thing? The next thing will be, well, now that they bought this product over here, what's the next funnel that I'm sending to? So in theory, the thing that you're always working on is always creating these little bridges. That's what you're doing, right? You're creating, what are retargeting ads? It's just these little bridges for them to cross. Imagine that this is like some weird game. Your audience, what are all these weird pillars? They need to go, okay, right now this is like water, okay? And in this water over here, there are all these crocodiles. And right now, if you don't have retargeting, what does it mean? It means that right now your person is stuck on this thing and they're not able to cross. Okay, so this person is kind of like permanently stuck here. So the way I think about retargeting is it's an ad that helps them send them to the next step of the sales process. That's what it is. Okay, because if not, the odds of them doing it on their own is extremely low, and chances are they will fall and get eaten by crocodiles. That's why like retargeting, like this call alone, is just to think about, do I have these bridges built in my business so that it fills the gap, and as long as these conditions are met, they're able to constantly get to the next step themselves. We now need to see, well, is it this 3-minute sales video that leads to this $97 offer that's a problem? Is it the webinar itself, which I think I accidentally closed the tab, right? So for that reason, that's why it's messy. And that's why the first thing we need to do is to understand that it's not that we need to do more, we need to do less. And we need to clean up all these things so that it's just one thing for now, and we need to consolidate it based on the coaching calls, based on the what's working right now calls, based on the stuff that I said we've been doing for our funnels. What do you think that might be?
To get them to opt in.
And then what happens after they opt in?
To follow up, make sure you're following up with them.
Okay, following up with them to do what?
To go to the step you want them to go.
Okay, and what step would that be?
To make a purchase.
Opt in and then straight away to make a purchase. What purchase is that? Is that a $97 offer to make what purchase?
To give them value, so that way, they know who you are, having a conversation. So that way you could sell them first before you get to the purchase, and then they'll feel comfortable making the purchase. Okay,
not quite, but and let me share with you why. Okay, so if you take a look at the funnel right now, it's like two separate things. Okay, when in fact we need to consolidate it and make it one thing, right? So have some sort of numbers running through the thing so that we can pinpoint exactly what's broken. And right now, because I don't have those numbers, right now I have to but because the pages are done, that's why we're doing this. Okay, let's begin with this page. So it's not an offer problem, it's not a traffic problem, it's a funnel problem. How many of you can see why on this? Emmanuel, are you able to see why it's not a traffic problem? Why we don't need to look at ads? Can you see why I don't need to look at your webinar just yet, because it's not the offer, but rather it's your funnel? So the way to think about this is, okay, number one, the reason why you might not be able to see that's a funnel problem is because number one, you don't have your numbers. Starting off this page right now, you gotta start off with a layout that's, when I land on this page, the first thing that it asks me to do, like the first thing, is to register for a webinar. So it's like, before I understand what's going on right now, I just landed on a page called ManTech Designs that asks me to register for a webinar. So just think about that experience for a second, right? If you're running ads and we've never met, literally, before you told me what the headline was, what the benefit is, what the takeaway is, what it is I'm going to discover, you just asked me to register for the webinar. Again, like based on the analogy that I use, right? If an ask is like a normal human relationship, that's going to the bar, meeting that person at the bar for the very first time and saying, hey, would you like to go home with me? That's the first sentence that came out of my mouth. Will 1 in 1,000 do that? Sure, right? Who are these people that would do that? Psychos, that's what they are, right? But most of the time, right, you'll either get a really weird stare, a disgusted stare, or slap in the face, right? Or most of the time you'll get a rejection at the very least, okay? So what we want to be able to do is we want to think about, well, so that's number one, okay? We can't lead with like register for the webinar. It's got to be like follow the proven layout, right? You utilize the share funnels that we have, right? Or at least the proven layout, because we've tried all these different variations, okay? So begin with this, right? So exclusive training, how to become a professional product developer. Discover 3 secrets used to profit from your ideas or products in 90 days without. Okay, so this is where it was confusing. I thought it was like a formatting issue. So technically, without licensing, invention companies or breaking the bank. Emmanuel, is there a reason why it's canceled out?
For emphasis.
Okay. So if it's like, this is like a double negative. It's like without, and if this thing's canceled out, it's a double negative. And also it was much harder to read. So again, I wouldn't do anything that breaks the context. So here's the thing I want you guys to understand. It's like there's context and there's content. The thing that you always want to be original with is usually your content. But in terms of context, what is context? Context is like the structure, it's the layout, it's the framework. I never want to be original with the context, right? If it's a webinar funnel, I know that there's a proven layout that is tried and tested over and over again. And I always want to use that as the control, as the starting point, as the benchmark. Can I split test with something else and try to be original later? Yes, once I start off with the control. So what does this mean? It means that any funnel that you guys build, whether it's a free plus shipping funnel, whether it's a high ticket funnel, whether it's a low ticket funnel, whether it's a virtual event funnel, you always begin with the control. You always begin by not being creative, by utilizing the context that's tried and has gone through trial and error over and over and over again that says, this layout, this framework is the best. Start with that first. Now, if you want to get creative after that by split testing to see if this new original never been done before layout works, by all means, but that's not your starting point. This means that for this over here, model a layout that we've utilized. Same thing for your opt-in, right? Your opt-in over here, we spent like an entire implementation hour, I think it was last month, right? Utilize that, right? I went through like 90 minutes of talking about like the copy, how to structure it, how to create all these different, what should go on the check boxes, right? So what I would want you to do is not to work on your offer just yet, because you don't have an offer problem. I mean, chances are you do have an offer problem, but that's not your low-hanging fruit right now. Right now, the problem is that there's not enough people seeing your offer to begin with. That's the problem, okay? And that's why it's a funnel. What we want to be able to do is fix this first, okay? So in order of priority, here's what you're going to do. Step number 1, you're going to model this based on the share funnel that we've given you, based on like proven presentations. Utilize that same layout, okay? That would be the control. So next one is same thing over here. It's like right now we have like as seen and featured on all these different pages, but the problem is I don't know what the payoff is just yet before I care about this. So utilizing the model that we give you, there should be the benefit for them. So this should be above. What we want to do is, if we are going to be introducing a specific terminology, we also need to speak their language. We cannot confuse our audience upfront with words that they don't understand, because if they did that, a confused mind does not take action. What we want to be able to do is we want to be able to give them the payoff and the benefit and the result, and not have it focused on the terminology, okay? So what does this mean? So imagine it kind of like, if let's say this was fitness, right now what I would be doing is, utilizing a similar analogy, it would be like secret number 1, how to build muscle fast, utilizing my reverse hypertrophy training. Now, people in the bodybuilding world, right, would understand like hypertrophy and stuff like that, right? But most people starting out will not. So what I want to be able to do is not focus on hypertrophy training. It's what most people will not understand, but show them how simple words that they will be able to relate to, which is coming from the angle of why short workouts are actually way more effective than long treadmill workouts, and how and what you can do to model what celebrity trainers are doing for their clients. So notice like now there's some sort of emphasis on the result, on the benefit, on the journey, rather than the technical word, okay? Because there's to the normal person, there's no benefit in that technical jargon. They cannot relate or understand what it means. So if you think about this, like the only thing that we got here is how to sell your products online. I would like to be able to model the same way we write the copy and connect these two funnels together so that they are not separate funnels, but one integrated funnel. Emmanuel, does that make sense so far?
Yes.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the behind the scenes to this coaching call. If you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments below what your biggest takeaway is. And as always, be sure to smash the like button. It does help the channel out a little bit. And to subscribe to this channel if you want to be notified of future videos just like this one. Now, some of you asking me, how can I be part of this process? How can I ask you questions? How can I have you coach me or mentor me? We want to make sure that we are working with the people that's the right fit. You'll need to fill up a form. There's a link right below this video. Somebody on my team might give you a call to interview you to see if they're right fit for each other. And if you want to apply and see if you're a good fit, then all you need to do is click on this link in the description box below and my team will be in touch with you.